Okay, so question number 12 is to identify the equation below as molecular or complete ionic or a net ionic equation. So let's define what each of these mean. So when we have a molecular equation, this is when our compounds are written as molecules. And when we have a complete ionic equation, this is when the compounds are written as free ions. With the exception of liquids and solid. And also in a complete ionic equation, everything involved is written down. And when we have a net ionic equation, this is when spectator ions are not shown. And it's only the ions involved in the reactions. Okay, so these are our three options. So now let's look at the first equation. We have silver nitrate, sodium chloride, and silver chloride, sodium nitrate. So everything is written as molecules. So therefore A is a molecular equation. Or I can denote this as a capital M, like what they said in the question. So A is a molecular equation. B, we have oxide plus a proton makes H2O liquid. So this is an example of the net ionic equation. So notice how they didn't include any of the other ions that are in the original equation. They only have the ions that are involved in the reaction. Okay, so now for C, we have lead 2 plus a nitrate, 2 nitrate ions plus potassium ion plus iodide ion makes lead iodide plus potassium plus 2 nitrate ions. So notice that everything is in ions already, and they also didn't cancel out any of the spectator ions. So for example, 2K plus and 2 nitrate ions are shown on both sides of the equation. So this is an example of a complete ionic equation. So for D, we have the 2 ions coming together to form calcium carbonate. So this is an example of a net ionic equation. Again, since the spectator ions were cancelled out, and we only see the ions involved in the reaction. And then lastly, we have calcium carbonate plus hydrochloric acid plus calcium chloride plus carbon dioxide plus water. So we still have everything, our compounds written as molecules. So this is an example of a molecular equation. Okay, so let's see what the junior tutor said. An equation is a molecular equation if the formula of the compounds are written treating them as molecules. An equation is said to be ionic if the formula of the compounds are shown as free ions, except when they are liquids or solids. An ionic equation can be either complete or net. A complete ionic equation writes all the ions or compounds involved, regardless if they are involved in the actual reaction. On the other hand, a net ionic equation writes only the ions involved in the reaction. Yep, so then they got the first one to be molecular, the second is net ionic, third is complete ionic, fourth is net ionic, and lastly, the last one is molecular. So this solution is correct.